it feels a lot of times like there's an attack on being a man.
100%.
You know, you're like, if you feel like these days, if you're a kid that's not bi, then you're not even going to be welcome at school.
No,
you know, and I don't know if that's true. I don't talk to kids. I don't know that, but it's like, you know, you get this feeling sometimes like, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, to your point, did you have the Presidential Fitness Awards when you were in?
Yeah.
I got badge 1, you got a number on. I got badge 1, badge 2, and I had a growth spurt and I couldn't do the pull-ups. And I trained for a year, pull-ups, and I got strong again. And now the awards were done away with because it was sauce fat shaming. So, and if you walk down the halls of NYU, you're going to see all these support groups for women.
Yeah.
You know, Black women in consulting, Golden Seeds, women in venture capital. There are no support groups for men.
Yeah.
And I don't think men have a place in our political world. I think the far right is kind of telling men to be, quite frankly, a little bit coarse and cruel. It's toughness and strength gone a little bit overboard. But on the far left, their definition of masculinity and their advice to men is to be more like a woman. That doesn't work either.
Yeah.
So we need to re-embrace the notion. I mean, I say jokingly, when Russian troops come pouring over the Ukrainian border, you want some of that big dick energy.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being physically strong. I think any man under the age of 30, our bone structure and that double twitch muscle with this amazing substance called testosterone poured over it is a fucking amazing thing. You're going to look back on your physique right now and your strength, and you're going to wish, and you kind of look this way, that you were a monster. Any man under the age of 30 should be able to walk into any room and know that if shit got real, they could either kill and eat everybody or outrun them.
Yeah.
And that is a wonderful feeling. It'll make you less prone to mental illness. It'll make you more attractive to mates, less likely to be depressed. And you'll be that guy that breaks up fights at bars, not that's insecure, right? This is strength, re-embracing protection, re-embracing, initiating relationships. I force my kids, I don't do this anymore because they've had enough of it, but when we left the house, I used to say, I'm not gonna let them back in unless they talk to a stranger. Mm-hmm. And it was easy for one of them. It was hard for the other. I'm like, just go up to them and pet their dog and say what kind of dog it is. Because your ability to initiate contact is key to finding a job. It's not easy to email strangers or go into a strange interview. Your ability to express interest, romantic interest, while making someone feel safe, right? Demonstrating excellence. Where does a guy demonstrate excellence right now? Doesn't go into work, doesn't go to church, right? Isn't playing sports, right? Isn't going to college. So where do men demonstrate excellence and attach to relationships? But we talk a lot about misogyny. It's a huge problem. It has been for a long time. What we don't talk about is misandry. And that is—
What is misandry?
A hate of men. There's generally— if you were to talk, have you ever heard the term toxic femininity? People don't use that term. But toxic masculinity, it's almost like it's become one word.
Oh, there are places I feel embarrassed to even be in because I feel like people look at me and think like, oh, this guy thinks he's some kind of man or something, you know? And that happens to me. But that happens to me in New York City sometimes.
You feel that way here?
Yep. There's certain places I'll walk in and just by the ambiance of like the people that work there or something, I'll think that. And I'm not saying that that's real, but it could just be perceived in my head. But I'll feel like I almost have to play down being a man if I'm going to be like accepted in this space, you know, or feel welcome here.
Yeah, there's definitely, and if you look at the stats though, men are really struggling. Like we don't have a male homeless problem. I'm sorry, we don't have a homeless problem. We have a male homeless problem.
Yeah.
We have an opiate problem, but we really have a male opiate problem. 3 out of 4 homeless, 3 out of 4 addicts are men. And if you had 4 out of 5 people kill themselves that were in any one special interest group, we would do something about it. And there's a lack of empathy. Because of the 2,000-year head start we've had on women, there's a lack of empathy for
Who had it,
men.
men did?
Oh, yeah.
How?
Oh, come on. Even when I grew up, Theo, when I came of it professional age in the 90s, 98% at least of venture capital went to the 24% of the population that were white heterosexual males.
Oh, okay. So men had that. I see what you're talking about.
Until the last 30 years, men have had literally a 2,000-year head start. But because of my advantage, does that mean a 19-year-old male should be punished for it?
Right.
There just isn't a recognition that a 19-year-old male with a single mother in Appalachia he's got no advantage. As a matter of fact, he's kind of disadvantaged right now.
Oh, well, there's an attack. There's certainly an attack on white males, it feels like. And then if you're white, you can't be like, hey, can we do a white help group? You know what I'm saying? Because suddenly you're racist if there's definitely this like shaming of like being in white skin, and it's like we're constantly doing that, like reliving the past or refocusing on the past and using it as a scope to aim at the present, and it's not very fair. And I definitely see it as a lot of people feel embarrassed to be white, and that's a shame, because you didn't choose to be white. And a lot of white people, we didn't have shit, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least when I was growing up, I felt like if you were black, people like you at least had the like, well, I'm fucked because of society, But if you were white, you're just like, people were like, you didn't even have an excuse, if you weren't doing good. You were like, well, how'd you not do good? You're like, I don't know.
It's a nuanced conversation though, Theo, because
I know it's nuanced. I'm kind of generalizing. I'm not trying to correlate anything. I'm just saying, you can't make hey, white people need help also group.
But we're talking about the bias against males. Mm-hmm. Our education system, the business I'm in, is highly biased against men or boys. 70 to 80% of primary school teachers are women. Who are they going to naturally champion? Someone who reminds them of themselves. What are the behaviors we promote in school? Be organized, be a pleaser, sit still. You're basically describing a girl. There are more per capita female fighter pilots than there are male kindergarten teachers.
We don't need male kindergarten teachers, I don't think.
Oh, sure we do.
You think so?
Young men need male role models.
Right, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think we need a PE teacher with some short shorts, you know what I'm saying? Who's kind of, who doesn't want to go home to his wife. But I don't know if I'd have walked into a kindergarten, but I still keep in touch with a lot of my teachers. I had a lot of affinity for them, whether they were male or women. I did have male middle school teachers. I don't know, would I be alarmed if there was a male kindergarten teacher?
But an example of that, the bias, a boy is on a behavior adjusted basis is twice as likely to be suspended. You have a girl and a boy, two different times, same infraction, cheating on the chemistry test. The boy is twice as likely to be suspended as the girl. Mm-hmm. A black boy is 5 times as likely to be suspended. So a lot of the issues we're talking about, self-harm, depression, lack of success in school is really difficult among young boys, and it's even more acute among non-white. Now, when you get to college, the whole DEI thing, right? 60 years ago, there were only 12 black people at Princeton, Harvard, and Yale combined. That was a problem. So giving them the advantage or a lift up with race-based affirmative action was the right thing to do 60 years ago.
Right.
Now, this year, 2/3 of Harvard's freshman class identifies as non-white. 70% of those people, however, come from dual-parent upper-income homes. So when you're letting in the daughter of a private equity Taiwanese billionaire, that's not diversity. That's not helping anybody.
Right.
So what I would argue is affirmative action is a wonderful thing, but it should be based on color, but that color is green.
Right.
And that as a white kid from Appalachia deserves just as much. I'm a beneficiary of affirmative action. I got Pell Grants in 1994.
Oh, yeah, I got them.
There you go. I think that's the way to go. Because the wonderful thing about America today, and we don't celebrate America's progress enough. Young people want to shitpost it as if we've made no progress. We've made extraordinary progress. And as fucked up as we are, we're less fucked up than I believe any nation in the world. You would rather be born in America, and this is a good thing. You'd rather be born today, and the stats show this, you'd rather be born gay or non-white than poor. The people who need a hand up, the best way to identify who is most screwed and is going to face the biggest obstacles and deserves the most additional resources and kind of unfair help is a poor kid. We need to get out of identity politics and focus on economics.
Yeah.